Lowe's podcast.
Uh,
The week one.
uh,
Week one. The LCS.
Week one in the freaking books,
Do
gang.
my intro.
It's done.
Is it ruining your intro if I'm part of the show and trying to help?
A little bit, because I had a whole sentence I was gonna say there.
Fuck your sentence, bro. What was it? Let me hear it.
Time to
Week
snip,
one
snip,
of the
snip.
of the LCS 2020 season is over. We're gonna talk about it.
Jesus Christ, what a boring ass sentence. I'm glad I jumped in. You fucking nerd.
Yeah,
What are
thanks,
you-
man. Thanks.
You think I'm just gonna
snip with
support
the
all your
cutoff.
shitty fucking ideas because we're fucking partners in this? No, okay.
So, what do
Hey.
you guys think? How'd you enjoy this week? Was it good? Was it bad? Did the UI make you want to punch yourself?
There was a 60-minute reason to want to die.
And
But we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna talk about that 60-minute reason to die later. Otherwise, I thought it was pretty good. Happy to see it back. I missed it. I'm always excited to see the split start, even if it's sort of on a rocky or rough footing. Just because I'm glad to have it back in my life on a weekly basis. And the Monday night changes were not as abysmal or as abhorrent as I thought they would be. So I definitely overreacted. But what else is new?
we got more trees planted. Come on, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, FlyQuest had their tree quest thing. What'd you think of that?
That's
I-
fine. That's cool. I respect it. Yo, you know what? I don't dislike trees. I'm gonna go on the record. Controversial opinion. I'm gonna go on the record with this controversial opinion. I think trees are all right, dog. That's it. It's crappy.
I thought it's like I feel like it's a good branding move for them because it's like who's gonna shit on trees?
Yeah, you can't. You
Just
just
Birds, bro. Birds are gonna shit on trees in a literal sense, bro.
Good
And you know what birds do? They fly, dog. Branding mismatch.
You got me. You got me.
time to go hunting. The avian species must be destroyed.
Okay. So, what else? What else kind of happened this week? Oh, I was watching Hotline League last night, and someone came on with a take about evil geniuses and how their branding suck. And as they were transitioning into that call, it's the last call, so they can't like switch to a different caller just to postpone this or to give them time. But the EG CEO walks into Travis's room in the middle of that segment. And oh my god, I loved her. She was fucking great. Avli was there too. So she gives this whole spiel about how it's really about being
That's so funny.
yourself and like not kind of putting up a front and just saying what you really feel. And then Avli walks over and says into the mic, "That's corporate speak for fuck you." Oh my god. I love the EG CEO. My new favorite CEO. Gotta be real. Fuck you, Reggie. Don't straight away double it next time. Okay? Yeah.
All right.
Anyone else got a little anecdote about this weekend they like to share? That doesn't involve the UI?
That doesn't involve.
I don't even understand what you're talking about with the UI.
Okay, open up one of the VODs and then just look at the dragons.
No.
And then look at the mini-map.
No.
You don't want me to ruin your life?
No, I just don't want to look at VOD right now.
Yeah. It
Oh my
does
God.
look bad. I
It looks awful. It looks like I made it, and I'm just like, why?
had to deal with it. It's fine. It's
I'm
whatever.
not-
We can move past it. The games are better. That's all.
What?
Some of them were like draft things were happening. You were just like, why are you doing this right now? What is happening?
Who were people calling out for draft slot? Was it 100 Thieves?
You can't call out 100 T. You gotta call it has to be IMT, and it
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's hands down all the time. No, that wasn't a good time. All right.
All right, so first topic we have up here is that LCS players cannot stream during Academy games. It became a problem because during Friday at 5 p.m. or whenever the hell Academy games started going on for Academy Rush, Doublelift was streaming, and then somebody in his, I think he was in his office at the time, came over and said, Doublelift, you have to stop streaming at 5. And so he got a little salty about it, got kind of mad, and just sort of, I don't know, he was just generally unhappy about having to stop his stream for the Academy games. What do we think?
I think he's kind of right to be upset. That's the thing. I mean, I understand the LCS is doing this so that they can promote more Academy games, and it's for the interest of Academy League. You know, the LCS manages professional games as well as the Academy ones. They want to get more viewership on this, but you can't really dictate what LCS players are doing on their time off.
I mean, right, but
that
No, but you definitely can, right? Like, because it's not his time off, right? Like, part of the LCS is the academy now. That was part of the changes. And just like a player, like none of the TSM players, I think, would have been allowed to stream during the LCS on the Saturday they had off because they were playing Sunday, Monday. So if Riot is serious about making the academy part of the LCS brand, which they really appear to be, then it makes total sense, right? Like, it would be the same as Double if not playing a Saturday game because he's playing Sunday and Monday, and then streaming during the main fucking program. Like, that's not cool. Like, he wouldn't be allowed to do that.
People were drawing a lot of like parallels to normal corporate life, but even in like normal corporations, there are a lot of non-compete clauses where you can't like go out and work on a smaller company in freelance work. Like you can
or like start your own business. In
yeah,
the
you can't really start it. I think like doing open source stuff is at least for programming because that's most of my knowledge. But for like doing open source stuff, it's a little grayer because you can kind of do that anonymously.
But Double H is not streaming anonymously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It is in a direct competition with Academy. I guarantee you, he's getting more viewers than Academy, and the argument that those viewers aren't going to go watch Academy sort of doesn't matter. It's like, sure,
some of them will though.
Yeah, some of them will. 100%. A non-zero amount of those viewers will go watch Academy. Now, the kind of other side of this argument is, does anyone have to really care if LCS pros are streaming against Academy? Like, is it actually going to impact the Academy scene? Because I'm not totally sure if it will.
Well, it won't impact the scene, but it would impact. It is the potential to impact viewership.
Yes.
In the same way that Double If streaming during an LCS match has the potential to impact viewership, and that's what I think the legitimate concern is. I don't think it's like necessarily going to fuck up like the scene or competitive nature of Academy, but I think if Riot, like I said, wants to really take this Academy thing seriously as a part of the brand and not just have it be that shit on Thursday night that's a VOD with no like fucking casters, then like you can't do shit like this.
They have had like the teams do their own private streams of I don't want to say private, but their own like their own stream of the Academy games with their own casting.
But that's different, right? Like that's
yeah.
And that I don't think anybody would have been like, yeah, Double shouldn't be streaming while TL is streaming their Academy team. I feel like there would be the same kind of
that was before they were trying to but now it's part of the LCS brand, right? In a very different way than it was.
It still was before. And this rule is not
No,
new.
I'm not saying it wasn't before. I'm saying it is in a different and more substantial way, or they want it to be in a more substantial way.
They are trying to garner more viewership with it. Now, this rule is not new. This rule has been in effect, as far as I know, for the entire franchising. Like, you could not stream during any Academy or LCS broadcast any of there's 100 players or some odd in the LCS. So
it's about 50 on the professional teams that are constantly in, and then
that's only starting
the Academy's still 5. Yeah, that's only starting roster, and then there's the 5 that you still get from.
So there's
Academy.
100 to like 125 probably, somewhere in there.
Yeah, little extra subs, just between there.
So I don't know. I feel like Doubles was rather unprofessional in the way he handled this, and if he really wanted, if the players really wanted to like stream during Academy games, which the only time this is going to affect them is on Friday nights, by the way. Then they would have to actually like do something about it with the Players Association, which the majority of the players just seem to not give a shit about.
It's Friday nights, or I think Monday.
No one starts streaming an hour after the last game, and no one starts streaming
not even like home
on Mondays. Mondays was their day off before. and no one's
I
gonna
don't
argue
think
with
they would
the
have to
LCS
necessarily take it up with the Players Association if it's part of the contract already, right? Like the Players Association could petition.
Right, they can have the rule changed. I think.
Well, the Players Association could try to, but Riot could just be like, no.
Well, that's the point of the Players Association. Like, there's 3 groups that are governing the LCS. There's the
no,
ownership.
I know how it works, but I'm just saying, like, this seems like a weird thing to fight over. Right.
I agree. I don't see why I would want to be streaming when my players are playing, my other teammates are playing. Like, that's.
I don't even see why I would want to be streaming while other teams are playing out of respect. Right? Like, I wouldn't want them to stream while I was playing, so I wouldn't stream while they were playing. If it's part of the brand and we want to consider these academy players sort of like not just like the B team, but like a real legitimate thing, then like out of respect, and like it might fuck up Double Lift's paper, it might fuck up somebody else's paper because they're streaming a little bit less. Maybe stream before, stream after, but it doesn't seem unreasonable to me to ask them not to stream during the academy games, or even to mandate it. It just seems like normal.
Okay.
Everyone had their fill on that one?
Yep.
No.
No.
You
have
not. Something else?
Yeah, I'm chilling. Nope, literally nothing.
Why won't it go dark? Alright, so on to this next section that I have entitled Overreactions.
Uh-huh.
Now, our first overreaction is that Dignitas and FlyQuest are the top 2. Did you see them play this weekend? Dignitas look crazy, and FlyQuest is still 2-0. What do you think?
Dignitas did look crazy. There was a lot of clutch things happening.
Isn't C9 2-0 too?
No.
Yes.
Actually, yes, C9 is also 2-0. But it was, oh my god, the unexpected happened during
EG 2-0?
No.
EG? No, they're 1-1.
Oh no, they're 1-1. Right.
But it was crazy because the unexpected happened during a Dignitas game, right? The thing that we
said... They
said...
got a Baron.
Touche.
We thought they couldn't do it, boys. We thought the curse ran deep, but it turns out Barons can happen for Dignitas. Oh my god.
But Froggen did the one thing we didn't expect Froggen to do, and that was rotate. He just outmatched Crown in the mid lane in the CLG game, and then when Greg was behind him was like, yo, alright, I only got their blue buff. You know, maybe we can do this dive top lane. He was like, alright, I'm down. And they pulled off a clean dive top lane, and then everything just went into their hands right after that. All the players were on point. Afro moved flash, saved Froggen one time, and then Froggen just TP'd back to a fight. It was crazy how coordinated they were. And Johnson still looked good in the game.
I was surprised at how well Huni was doing. Huni was not losing. He looked much more stable and a lot less volatile than he normally is. And Johnson did kind of impress me a little bit too. I still don't think Afremu was playing that high. I think it was just I think he was just doing his job.
Yep.
All right.
FlyQuest though. The true quest.
There's a first we have to address IMT's draft.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
Because in the first of all, FlyQuest faced IMT and FlyQuest versus CLG. The FlyQuest versus CLG game, they stomped CLG, but that's because like Wiggly was kind of like low key inting. It happened, and then Ruin was kind of low key inting. It was
low key. That's kind. That's charitable, baby.
It was not a good time. And then the FlyQuest versus IMT game, you know, IMT just wasn't ready in the draft. They were like, oh, all right, we picked Aatrox. It's great. It's one of the best top laners. And then we pick Trundle. Yeah. Trundle? Trundle.
Please note, the FlyQuest team comp is Riven, Lee Sin, Victor, Senna, and Blitzcrank. Who are you ulting? What's the Trundle for? Why?
And then they still didn't respect Viper. I'm pretty sure they had an opportunity to.
They always have an opportunity to ban Riven. Instead, like here are the 3 bans that they could have put Riven in, regardless of where Riven was picked. Braum, Camille, Tom Kench, Riven. Pretty sure Braum was one of their first bans, but they banned. It looks like they banned Braum after Ornn.
I don't remember the ban order.
It's weird.
I'm
But
looking at it, how it is on Game of Legends. I'm not sure if it's correct.
yeah, but I watched the game twice, and it's like, IMT still manages to drag it out to be an above 30-minute game, almost 38 minutes, and it looks like they're really trying to hold their own, but they just can't, because Viper's crazy on Riven. It just hits that point.
And we
That's
control
why they
the
won the game.
objective until Viper shows.
Yes! oh god. That's it. So I want to see FlyQuest against, like, Dignitas, C9, even TSM. I want to see how they handle TSM's early game. That's it. Until they do those, like, I can't really put
You don't want to see how they handle TSM 60-minute game?
That was TSM's early game, though.
I just want to see. God damn.
I fucking hope that's not the.
That was all the early game for the rest of the split. Alright. So, C9 won the offseason. What do you guys think of that one, huh? Matt, it's your team. What do you think?
Bold of you to assume that I think, but I will certainly talk.
Uh-huh.
C9 looked a lot better than I was expecting, not because I expected them to be bad simpliciter, but because I expected them to... I wouldn't have been surprised if they were a little rough synergy-wise with the brand new bot lane and with Blabber coming up to full-time, etc. Blabber would have been a little more surprising because of his experience with Nizzy and Licorice on the top side of the map, but having a brand new bot lane, it would have been totally reasonable and not at all inappropriate in my eyes if they had a week or two where they were just sort of getting the feel. But to see them come out, not only did the top side of the map look very solid, but the bot side looked like they meshed extremely well. Vulcan had some incredible Tahm Kench plays. Sven had some really, really solid Aphelios plays, and neither bot laner really looked like they were like the hard carry in the Aphelios Kench game. But they certainly performed at a super high level, both in lane and with the team, which was super impressive to me to see that synergy develop so quickly, and you hope to see it moving forward.
Ben's looking like he's performing just as well as he was when he was on TSM last year. He still looks like one of the best AD carries in the league. Their game against TL, I felt like Licorice was really kind of destroying Impact, and that gave them a lot more like to take control of objectives, because if a good a head Aatrox is a really strong tool to have when you're a team fight comp or when you're an objective control comp, because you can just chuck Aatrox at him and he'll live for 10 seconds or so, and you can do whatever you want.
I'm not going to take away from that, but what I really think just off-put them was
Niski's Vigar.
Vigar. Yeah, because
that Vigar was heat, bro.
Once again...
I should not have worn this shirt on stream, by the way.
Bandit, but it looked like Surenfire didn't know how to play around it. You're right. This is his first game in the LCS. He's just been subbed in. It's new, right? And he just doesn't know how to play around it. Jensen doesn't look like he knows how to play around it in the professional scene. He just gets camped mid and then gets destroyed, and then now your jungle mid duo's gone, and that's it. That's a wrap.
So that should kind of bring us into our next overreaction. Is TL is top 3 with a sub jungler.
Okay.
What do you think? Is that really an overreaction there, or are they still a top 3 team?
Oh
with
my
sub
Christ!
jungler?
Say it again. I cracked my neck so hard I blacked out.
TL.
Wow,
is top 3 with their sub jungler.
Yeah. Stick with the sub, dude. No, I'm kidding. I expect Broxa to come back in and make this team probably number 1.
Right. But at the moment...
Yeah, it's impressive, but it's also not that impressive because it's still the other members of TL who are extremely good and have been extremely good, right? Like, Xmithie was good on TL, but wasn't often the hard carry, right? He was not the one putting the team on his back, running through the fucking field, right? Like, he was supporting them in the way of a tank, sometimes a marksman, sometimes some other stuff, a bruiser, whatever. But Xmithie's role was super specific. And don't get me wrong, Xmithie was exceptional at it, probably the best in NA at it for quite a while. But it's not like this jungler needed to come in and learn not only how to gank for all the lanes, but also how to hard carry the team, right? Like he still has double lift, he still has Jensen impact, right? Like I don't know.
Yep, I totally agree with that. Jensen looked crazy. Like their game 2, Jensen impact, all the 4 players were firing. Fire, he didn't really have to do that much in the game. Until how do I say it? Until it really came down to securing that 4th dragon against TSM. But then after that, it still didn't really matter because TL just took over the game. Jensen's still rotating. TSM never really got the fight that they wanted. There was never a time when Kabe was able to just sit down and just throw his ult out. He was always under pressure. And it just felt like TL was able to play around their comp better. That's it.
TL definitely, I don't know. The way they lost that C9 game, it's really, it seems like there was a communication issue between a few of their members. Like they couldn't organize themselves and they got caught out trying to do something, or they got caught out just misstepping. I think that the games we saw in week 1 from everybody are going to be the worst games of the whole split, and I don't feel like that's a gigantic statement to make. And
I think it's quite reasonable.
I think Marcy said the same thing on the analyst decks, but I don't see too many teams falling too much further down, and even if they do, other teams will rise up, making the games just shorter. First off, shorter, and the games will just be more decisive in general. And I'm looking forward to the more decisive and more competitive games, because 60-minute slugfests are not what I call fun.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
All right, Taymot, do you have another overreaction you want to share?
Another overreaction. My overreaction was like last week because I put CLG top 2, and that just bit me in the ass. Oh god, I'm so sad. It doesn't look. I was rewatching one of their games, which was the FlyQuest versus CLG game, and then I just saw Wiggly into free kill after Crown died when Ruin was kind of in the river, and I don't know if they had any sort of communication. And then another time, right? Wiggly pulls the trigger. They go all in. Ruin misses a hook shot onto the wall to get into the fight, and then Stixay just randomly auto somewhere on Senna, but I don't know where it went, and then he finally hits Wild Turtle. There's so many things that are happening with that team, and I really need them to like fix it. There's a lot of issues.
Yeah, they're gonna have to try very hard to climb up to your 2nd place spot in your power ranking. That was
yes,
quite a tall order you set for them there. Watching this team, I was watching through highlights and I saw Crown on Zoe ult over a wall, and then it's like, wait, what are you doing? Jarvan's on the other side of this wall. You're standing next to his minions. I think it's like the bottom bush in mid lane. Like he's over that wall on the opposite team side. So he just gets ulted and killed in 2 seconds. And I'm just like, what were you trying to get there? Were you trying to stun somebody? Because nobody was in that bush anymore. They all walked out to go get you on your platform you're spawning back to. Like, what? Why would you make that move?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you have something to say, Matt?
No, I was choking on my own body.
All right.
What do you think of the CLG situation? They're 0-2. They lost to FlyQuest, and who's the other team they lost to? Dignitas.
Where did I rank them? Where did I put them?
I think like 5th or 4th.
Probably overshot that. I actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that.
Well, first week we got 8 weeks. 8 weeks to go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I know it's the overreaction segment, but I do think this might just be like a first week back. One of the common conversations I have with friends with whom I share interest in other sports is that certain sports, basketball, sometimes football, especially basketball, the first week or 2 back in the NBA season, Jesus Christ, it's awful basketball. Like, it's almost always just abysmal because people have been in the off season.
The games mean nothing.
Not even that the games mean nothing, but like, even if you give a shit, if you just took a bunch of months off, you're practicing a little bit, but you're not going at the same volume, because if you do, you're like guaranteeing an injury in the NBA at least. You're just rusty, right? Like, I've heard, like, I know I personally, as a bad League of Legends player, if I don't play this game for a day, the first game back is awful. And I've even heard I've heard Shifter say it on stream and in videos, like, oh yeah, if I don't play for a couple days, like, I'm just bad, right? Like, it's not the kind of game where you can just take a super long break, either individually for your mechanics or as a collective team, and just be as good when you get back, right? So even if, teams are probably scrimming at least a couple weeks in advance of the LCS, depending upon your break, how you were spending that, what you were doing to recuperate as a player, I typically expect the first week or two of the LCS to be of a little bit lower quality. And so I wouldn't be surprised if CLG struggled again next week, but I also wouldn't be surprised if they turned it around in the coming month or so. They seem like they have a really good roster, and I don't know how much of these problems we've seen in these first two games are even really problems, or just, if they are problems because of break things, practice things, just getting back in the swing of things. Even if it's a break thing, like scrimming at home, very different than playing on a stage. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
All right.
That was a longer rant than I thought it was going to be. I don't think I said much wrong, though. Only a little bit, but
on point.
Okay.
All right, I think that'll do it for our overreaction. Move on to our match reviews.
No, I have one more overreaction.
Do you?
What?
Every single game, without fail, should be minimum 50 minutes long.
All right, so on to our match review.
So anyway, match review: 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians.
Hang on. I want to go over the results first before we get there.
No, I know. I was making a joke about the atrocious sentence I just uttered.
Alright, so
I'd like to go on the record and say I don't mean that.
In our picks this week, me and Matt both got 4 out of 10, and Haymont came in with a cool 3
40%, baby, that's a D! No, I'm kidding.
That's
no,
not
like
a D,
F.
that's only a
it's
D,
an F.
a really bad
40%, baby, that's a B plus, dog.
That's a B plus.
have
We're
a
going
generous
higher.
curve.
Listen. We curve this shit, okay? Anthony and I got
Technically,
A's.
we get an A.
We got an A. Haymont got an F. That's the curve.
Oh wow.
Hey, it's a brutal curve, bro. It's a brutal curve. What do you want?
Turns out a curve with 3 people?
That's
Bad
like a
idea.
cliff.
It's a cliff. It is. It's right here, and then you. No.
It's feeling toasty tonight. There's a lot of flame.
Oh, yo, when am I nice to you? Anyway, we managed to get 4 right by each differing in 2 picks, and each of us splitting those down the middle. And Haymont, I don't even know. I don't even know what was going on there, but
don't know who calls that with Svenskeren on the other team, but okay.
Which one?
The EG versus 100 Thieves. Haymont called 100 Thieves in that game.
Yep.
I think all of us were very much surprised with Dignitas. We've already talked about it a little bit, but damn, Stan.
Yeah.
He's disappointing.
It's even better because Johnson was on Senna in one game, right? And then Froggen's like, oh, I'll 1v1 you top lane. I'll 1v1 you top lane. Svenskeren takes it. And then Froggen's like, ha, it was actually a 2v1. Here's a Senna ult. You're dead.
Wait.
The Senna ults were actually pretty solid.
Are you talking about that time where Senna shot it right on top of Oriana?
Yes.
That didn't even get him an assist.
It was Svenskeren. Wait, that didn't even get him an assist?
That was all Froggen, 100-0.
Wow, alright. Well, in that case, I may be slightly wrong, but still, it would have been a 2v1 situation. Take a look at that. Oh, man. So close, so close. Alright. What are we talking about now?
Alright, so, let's talk about 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians.
This was a competitive game for all of the wrong reasons.
So this game started off with Closer invading Meteos on both of the buffs and putting Meteos behind by 2 camps. That hurt
Very
so
funny
much. Oh my god. I cannot believe they got that start off. That start is obnoxious as hell. If you ever pull that off on somebody, that in this meta now, that jungler's out of the game. But somehow, Meteos pulls it back to get an Elder Drake steal. They only got 2 neutrals, a Baron and an Elder Drake, and I'm not sure if they got the Baron before or after the Elder.
I want to say they got it after, but it was hilarious because you just see like Golden Glue almost kill Meteos, and then Meteos just hiking around the Krugs or through the red pit, and then he's just like, "Oh shit! Everybody, come on, everyone, just get in here!" And he just throws himself in there. He throws his ult, throws his Q.
Golden
I'm
Glue
pretty
was
sure
caught
stun.
slipping.
Yeah, stun through a Q. Cody's son secured it with his. They were just like, all right, they peeled off. Go, 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 steal it. And they were just made out like bandits. That's it.
FBI got his best AD carry, apparently, in Varus this game, and I never noticed him, really. Maybe on a couple of kills he got his ult in there, but other than that, this didn't feel like much. Closers after the early game wasn't super impactful, and he just kind of ran in and died trying to get an initiation. Golden Glue was okay, but he made the crucial mistake in not killing Meteos as he was going in to steal the Elder Drake, and that totally threw the game. On top of the fact that Closer died just before that.
It was kind of sad to see because Golden Glue was the better mid laner over Ryoma. He was clearly the better mid laner, even though Ryoma was still
by
standing
miles.
up.
By miles.
Yeah, he was holding it up, and then one mistake, dog. That was it.
Or whatever. Keith, really not looking amazing. Okay.
You can't really place him because he's not the problem on this team. It doesn't look like he is.
Who's the problem for Golden Guardians then?
That's the harder part because like immediately like the next game that they had versus C9 they imploded midway through. So I don't know what the problem is right now because it's sometimes Closer, even though his aggression paid off in that game, sometimes it doesn't. Haunter's like all right, not really that amazing, but Golden Glue's supposed to be like the one who's supposed to come and carry. This is supposed to be his redemption arc. That's what people are saying a lot, and he just messed up one time. And like I said, the game afterwards and C9, the team just imploded after failing a Baron dance, and that was it. So I don't know.
This team, the early game has looked competitive, but it doesn't seem to garner them any leads. In a very different way than TSM's early game looks competitive, because TSM's early game feels like it has an impact, and especially in their IMT game, the reason that they didn't, like, the game didn't end in before 40 minutes is because IMT couldn't close the game out. They had the late game comp, they had the scaling, and TSM ran out of gas, and then IMT just can't end.
Yeah, it was really weird. But bringing it back to GG, it's like, all right, Closer got this lead, and even though, like, the mid lane, like I said before, Ryoma's not as good as Golden Glue, but still, Ryoma's not dying. You look at Someday in the top lane, he's taking his Gangplank into the Aatrox, and he apparently doesn't care. He's still got, apparently farming away, getting plates, he's still doing what he needs to. The bot lane, Cody Sun and Stun, they're not feeling that pressured either. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure Cody Sun was doing pretty alright there. I don't know. But, you know, they're not doing bad. It's what do you do with this early aggression then? What could you have done with it? What could you have done better with it?
Well, yeah, that is the thing. What lane are you going to leverage here? Because you don't want to really leverage Ornn. Golden Glue is probably the lane you want to leverage, but Zoe's kind of hard to get on top of sometimes, especially if Zoe knows you're coming for her. And
not even with Jarvan ult though.
But
yeah, but you gotta hit 6 first. And
I mean,
the
yeah,
but doesn't feel strong either.
You just start your ult, idiot.
But yeah, that's the problem. I don't know. You have to do something. Like you have to go. GP is supposed to be one of the champions that's supposed to be really vulnerable in the early game. Like he can't cleanse a knockup, and you still have Aatrox and you have the Jarvan there.
Wait. You mean they didn't pick Aatrox?
No, they had Aatrox in the top lane versus
they didn't.
Who did they have in the top lane?
They had Ornn.
They had Ornn in the
unless
top lane?
this is. Oh wait, no, they might have. This might just be wrong. I might be looking at the wrong info because they have a ban on Ornn, and Ornn's picked for them. So could just be wrong. I kind of remember him playing Aatrox.
Okay, GG versus 100T. Let me see. No, actually, you're right.
Hunter
They do
has
have.
Ornn.
Okay.
That's why they picked Braum. They banned Akali. I don't know why Ornn.
Okay, I'm wrong there. Never mind. You
No,
don't
I'm
go
looking at-
top lane with the Ornn. I was wrong there. You were right. So you don't go top lane with the Ornn, but you still, I don't know. You just need to get something done, and it really didn't seem like, even though Closer had the lead on Meteos, it didn't seem like he
You know
just should.
what I think the answer is?
What?
Poser and Gold and Blue have to roam top to kill something, and I think they do that once. But
Do they? Uh-huh.
I don't remember if there's a timestamp. But it didn't seem to like get them anywhere. They had 4 Drakes, and then they chucked it away. I think they even had a decent transition in the mid game this game. Not in they played Cloud9 the next day, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that game, it didn't seem as good, but it just didn't feel like they didn't have any impact. They're I don't know. Their mid game to late game transition is what really blew, and their mismanagement of team positioning really needs a lot of work. Because if you lose a game to Rayoma when with LeBlanc mid lane, you really shouldn't be losing that game. Like that's a big no, especially after the enemy jungler's down 2 camps.
Yeah. Jizuke showed you why you shouldn't lose that game.
Zuke was good. Zuke was very good.
Uh-huh.
All right, so let's move on to next one. Unless Matt has something else he wants to add. No.
I really have nothing there.
Okay. So Team Liquid versus TSM was the other game we wanted to kind of focus on.
What do you think about TSM's early game?
TSM's early game looks fire.
Uh-huh.
TSM's mid game looks okay. TSM's late game looks like they fucked up.
Yes. That's when you see all of the pieces coming together, where it's like, oh, TL's got Orianna, and they still have the Ornn, and they still have the Rakan. How do you get Kabe to just sit still and ult? He just can't. It's just, I'm pretty sure he only did one ulti that game, where it was to compete for the last Infernal Drake.
He got a good one off on Baron, but it didn't do anything.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. They got a really good early game, and then they couldn't transition anything into the late game because, well, you have the Misfortune, kind of an early game, pretty good early game champion, but she can't really sit down and throw her ult out. Leona, you have to go in, or you can't. That's all you do. You just go in.
Kyle was just getting killed on every time you went anywhere. He just gets marked.
Yeah. He did really good in the early game. The amount of, like, when he did the flash and the E that connected, Zenith Blade that connected onto Double Lift, which netted them the kill, and then he just kept on doing it. In the early game, it was amazing, and then you see why in the late game it's not as good.
I think it can be good. The real problem is they have to get through Ornn, Orianna, and Jarvan. And Jarvan
that's hard to eat through. That's
like Jarvan is pretty good against Leona, because even if he gets rooted, he can just go right over Leona and just there's no stun.
And also, like, if you're super good, you can like preemptively E and like buffer the Q so that you basically like pull her backwards, so she's not even in your team, in your front line. She's just in with her team.
Yeah.
It's a little harder to do, and I don't remember if it happened all that much. But that's a rough 3 for Leona to deal with.
And they really had a hard time pinning down Double Lift. It would be like, all right, you throw your ulti, your solar flare straight onto the Xayah, and then what does she do? She ults too. It's just they had a really hard time getting a good position and like dealing with them in the late game, because your Elise can't get picks anymore because they're all just roaming. Like, if she hits the Ornn, it doesn't really do anything.
I feel like they should have picked Braum here, because Braum does pretty good into Ornn and Xayah.
Yes.
I don't know why we're picking Leona here when Braum's on the table. I just don't get it.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a draft issue. I also had a little bit of a bone to pick with TSM during the IMT draft, which was that you don't really have. You picked the Rumble top lane, and like that's fine, but you don't really have anything to like keep them on that carpet. I don't know.
I mean,
Because
I don't know what you really want to add to keep them on the carpet.
that's the thing. I don't know what I want to add to keep them on the
I don't think
carpet.
there's anything in this game that keeps people on the carpet that much besides Kiana. And I would not pick Kiana in this comp.
Yeah,
That's a different game.
that is indeed a different game. But in this one, it just felt like it hit late game, and TL just knew how to navigate. And
Did anyone see Bjergsen's ult work or do anything?
no, he even if you got the revive off, what are you doing? You're now surrounded by like 5 TL members.
I didn't see him be all that impactful this game. And normally, like, he's the one doing all the work, and I didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my?
I agree with Anthony.
Yep. The Zillion ultis were negligible because everybody had to flash away anyway. It wasn't as if it was a close fight where if you ult a carry, then they'll come back and then they can keep fighting. No, these were all TL's fights. You ulted someone and they still had to flash because otherwise you're still stuck in with the rest of Team Liquid's.
I'm just.
It happened multiple times.
I don't know how this gets any better. Maybe Rek'Sai could have done better, but then you're like specking more into AD. I don't think Elise was like the wrong option here, but Elise doesn't have any items. Elise hasn't completed an item after her. Oh wait, she has Haunting Leandre's Torment. Never mind. I don't get the Leandre's Torment either. Like, I don't know.
I mean, that's fine. You have it into the Ornn. That's tanky.
Yes.
And I don't know if you really take that into the Jarvan. Also,
it's not that bad in the Jarvan, but
yeah, a small little thing. Just small little thing. Surenfire's always went with the warrior builds on Jarvan.
Yeah, but then he has whatchamacallit, Gargoyle Stoneplate. Yeah.
No, my only complaint with that was that he did that he went warriors first in the C9 versus TL game. That's that's another thing. But yeah, it just really felt like it hit a point where TSM didn't have enough tools to actually compete with TL in the late game. That was all. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that was both of their games. That's exactly why they lost the IMT. They drafted for early game. They had a good early game, and then they just couldn't get anywhere.
No, I felt like there were like smaller things, like macro decisions that they maybe could have done better. For example, when they had the inhibitor down in the I believe it was the bot lane,
yes.
Right? You did push for the inhib turret, but I felt
that's the IMT game, by the way.
Yes, that is the IMT game with Yerg, but I felt like Yerg could have been in like a different place, like if he had been helping them around, getting vision around Baron, trying to get picks off.
I mean, he got an inhibitor, and they had to back to stop him. I think what really happened is he overpressured for another Nexus turret, and I see zero value.
That's
in
the
one
point
Nexus
where
I never see a value in that ever.
That's where I agree with you. That's where my complaint is. That's the small thing that I think they could have done, and they probably could have done a lot better in that game and maybe won it. But that's the problem. TSM's late game just doesn't look as good. Like they need to make.
No, it looks a little less clean. There looked like there was some hesitant decision making or lack of decision making. A little bit of lack of commitment, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Broken Blade's Rumble is also really, really eh.
It's not bad, but it's not like great. And Yergsen's Zillion was picked in that game just didn't have the impact that was needed.
I'm wondering if this team needs to upgrade themselves on individual levels, or do they need to upgrade themselves on like a team level? And I can't really like pin that down because there's so many different problems that indicate both that I'm just at a loss for how to approach fixing this. I mean, I guess it could be both, but
at this point, I think you try to tackle in the draft and you try to give them like more tools to use, but you also.
But the draft won't fix everything, right? Like your draft won't fix your decision making, bro. Like that's just like you need to know what to do when. And if you can't make those decisions, even if you outdraft the enemy team, if you're just making the wrong calls or you're not making calls, then you're not really going to be in any better of a position to win.
TSM's had late game shot calling issues forever. Remember when
Yes,
FlyQuest backdoored them, like, because of course they did?
Well, they, you know, that's just, that happened because that's a good script. That's a good writing. You know, that's how you get into the screenwriter, the League of Legends Writers Guild, right? You write that sort of action.
It happened. Like, I don't understand how you don't learn from that mistake. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I learned from that mistake, and I'm just like, oh, it's about to happen again. I guess we lose. It happens so often, TSM, and I don't understand how they got so bad at late game shot calling. I guess they don't have a shot caller, but I don't know who their shot caller is now. I'm guessing it's Bergson, but who knows?
I kind of wonder how Smithy would do on that team now, just as like a random throw out.
Smithy was never the shot caller. He was always just the jungler. Like, he would do jungle calls and stuff like that. I don't think he ever really did late game macro calls. I think that was mostly double lift.
I mean,
now
yeah.
Now it was core.
Oh, no. Well, he's still got that resiliency, right? And he still sometimes make those opportunistic calls to like take certain objectives at the right time. So
maybe that doesn't sound like Smithy too much to me. Smithy just seemed like a very stable jungler.
Okay, that's fair. Well, anything else?
No. I mean, Anthony's right that Smithy is stable, and stability is really important in these really long games. It's really bad if, like, the first 10 minutes you're on fire, the next 20 you're shit, and the next 10 you're lit, and the next 5 you're off. And so, like, having someone who's really consistent is, I think, good in these kinds of games, but other than that, I don't know if it's just, like, a straight outclassing of jungler. Like, Dardoch's not a bad jungler.
Alright, let's move on to next week's picks.
Okay.
Alright. So let's look at some of our discrepancies here.
Alright.
Hema, you seem to think that Team Liquid are going to beat Dignitas next week.
Yes.
What are you thinking?
The thing is that even though Hooney's still good in the top lane, Froggen's still good in the mid lane, I think Jensen can match Froggen, and I think Impact can match Hooney. And I'm pretty sure Doublelift is still like the better bot lane. So, the Doublelift core JJ is still the better bot lane there. Even if you have your substitute jungler in there as Surenfire, as long as he doesn't get straight outclassed by Grig, you can still work with this. And if you give TL's lanes the extra late game tools that they have, exactly in the TSM game, if you give them those extra late game scalings, if you give Doublelift the Xayah or another champion that has some way of escaping or some way of heavily impacting the game, he'll do well there.
So I picked Dig on the caveat that I reserve the right to change my TL predictions if they get a jungler.
Why?
I also, Anthony, I would like to point out I'm in the same boat as you. We are both reserving the right if the visa. No, because it changes, right? Like, I'm doing it with the. It changes a lot, right? If they get the Broxa in, my pick changes. I'm working under the assumption that they won't, because when I have to do the picks, they haven't. Should that change, Anthony and I, sort of bottom text, right? Like what is it, like 0.0054, like 0.0001 font. We reserve the right to change this, right? Like, that's what we're doing, right? We're getting you on the technicalities, but anyway.
So
okay.
The other discrepancy we had was TL and FlyQuest. Now, this one I don't really reserve the right to change unless something happens to Surenfire and they put in Pobelter, in which case I will. But why do you think FlyQuest is going to win in this one?
Because, one, they plant in the trees, bud. But honestly, PoE hasn't looked that bad. There was like one time when he got caught out by Hakuo in the IMT game, and that was kind of it. But ever since then, he's still been pretty stable. I don't know how he holds up to Jensen. I'd still say he can match him. And Wild Turtle has not been straight inting.
What happens when you put him on Senna He can't exactly flash forward because he doesn't have any damage.
You see, the thing is, he tried one time. There was the IMT game where he died to Altex Cassiopeia. Just randomly. Just after they killed Xmithy and just after Viper solo killed Soaz in the bot lane. But I'm supposed to be telling you reasons why FlyQuest can win this game. So forget anything that I just said.
You are doing a really bad job of defending the point you were asked to defend. That being said, I'm happy because you're defending my point by accident.
Okay, I will say all these reasons, but also Ignar looked crazy on that Leona game. I will not take that away from him.
Support carry, yeah.
Yeah,
The Fervor Leona Innovator. That's the one.
Did he go Fervor?
He played Fervor Leona against SKT at World Quarterfinals and took them to 5 games with it.
I forgot about that.
I thought
the legend.
Didn't he play like PTA?
No, it was Fervor.
It was
PTA
Fervor.
wasn't in the game yet.
Okay, he was like, I can just whack this man down with my blade.
I'm gonna beat the fuck out of him, bro. Swanging.
So Matt, why do you think TL is going to win against FlyQuest?
Why do I? FlyQuest didn't look bad, but I lost confidence. I think, I don't know. It's like I'm struggling to put it into words. It's just like it feels like
a fantasy.
TL has the potential for more consistency. Not that they've actualized that potential. Remember that they've not actualized it. The possibility to of more stability. And I think that in some, but maybe not all of the lanes, there's just a lot more individual skill on TL. That could do a lot to snowball the early game into a place that would be difficult for TL to lose.
Yeah,
but also I'm picking TL is a pretty tight margin here for me, right? Like I would not be shocked. If FlyQuest wins, I'm not going to be like, oh what? I'm going to be like, all right, yeah, fine. I'll hold that L.
TL looks like their lanes are very strong individually, as we expected. So
well, of course, anyone who didn't expect that is a fucking, I don't even know, bro.
So we're kind of hoping that FlyQuest synergy and jungling will be able to outclass them. I was basing on Santorin. It's like, is Santorin going to be able to influence these lanes enough to flip them as much as Dardoch did? Like, Dardoch definitely held bot lane.
Dardoch had a lot of presence.
Yes,
but even
Dardoch
still, it wasn't enough to totally flip the game against them, and DL still got in there.
To say something to that point that's probably against my point once again,
we'll find out.
Santorin wasn't. He was a factor, but it wasn't. You are
contradicting yourself again. That is true.
You weren't able to really tell how much of a factor he was, right? In the game versus IMT, he hard farmed to level 6, and then his lanes were ahead, and then he happened to catch Xmithy out one time. And then since that time, people were like, "Oh wow, he's overperforming." But it was really the Viper show that entire game, and the fact that they didn't have an answer for the Riven. So Santorin got Xmithy, got that Earth Drake. I believe he got a kill in the top lane, which I'm forgetting on who, but that wasn't really because Santorin did it. That was because Viper's crazy. And the one time when Hakuo caught him out with a hook, Viper just appeared in the middle of 4 people, stunned them, and he wasn't punished for it. The game versus CLG, it was Santorin was still making early game moves, right? Him and PoE got Crown in the mid lane, and then all of us, right, he was walking away into the river, and then Wiggly was like, I will avenge my boy Crown, and just hard inted, and then Santorin was like, I'm still here, flashed in, kills Wiggly, and then ever since then, the game's in their lap. So I don't really know how much of an impact Santorin has on this team. All I know is that if TL bans Viper, bans Riven, then, it's a pretty good start. That's it. That's all. But yeah.
All right. So last thing before we close out the show, I think I'll try to do this every week. What match are you looking forward to? Start with Matt.
None. No.
None?
Sorry. I don't know who you were gonna start with. I didn't mean to interject. I'm just being a dickhead.
Starting with you. When you
Oh,
looking
you're
forward?
starting with me. Convenient, because I was just being a dickhead.
Yeah.
Let's see what looks good on this list. Dig TL or C9 IMT look like they'll be good games.
Pick one and tell me why you're excited.
I'm excited for Dig TL because I'm excited to see whether or not TL is able to stabilize or whether Dig is able to continue their impressive performance and continue performing to a degree that I perhaps did not expect them to perform to.
All right. Hey, Matt. What game are you excited for?
I want to see both of the FlyQuest games this week because this feels like a good time to figure out whether they were overhyped with that 2-0, whether they actually deserve to be in first place. Because, they have a hard weekend. It's TL versus FlyQuest. They have really good laners. It's FlyQuest versus Dig. They have really good coordination, and that's really going to be the test to actually see whether this team is like a middle of the pack team or a top tier.
All right. Now, as you might assume, based on my clothing, I am excited for the TSM versus CLG match. It is the Monday night match, and that is all I can wait for.
I just want
to watch CLG get stomped into the ground like the peasants they are.
Yep. Figures.
So I always enjoy a good CLG versus TSM game. Except when the TSM loses. Those aren't fun.
Still not picking TSM over EG, though.
No, EG looked better than them, and a lot better than CLG. And CLG looked like probably the second worst team in this league right now.
How about I make a case for TSM and the TSM versus EG? Because I just feel like you're a little dispirited with your team this time around. Come on, you gotta have a little.
Literally, how could he not be? Did you see that? Yeah, I was gonna.
I sat here for 60 minutes trying to gnaw through my hands.
6D, remember, not 16.
Yes.
Well, EG looked really strong against GG because, well, GG. Wait, no, actually that match hasn't happened. Hold on just a second. EG...
What a fucking idiot. Okay.
I am a goddamn
idiot. They played 100
idiot.
Thieves and... 100... wait, where's the other game? Dignitas. They lost to Dignitas.
Okay, so they lost to Dignitas because EG kind of looked like they were a one-man army, as in, like, Jizuke would go in and then try to kill Froggen, and then Svenskeren would try to make a play when there's no one around. Stuff like that. And then, in the second game, EG did beat 100T, but that was really a mid-gap that happened there. You're not expecting Jizuke to just run over Bjergsen, right? Because he ran over...
Is Bjergsen going to use his ultimate this game?
Well, let's assume that TSM picks like a really stable pick into it, right?
Like his Zillion.
That's still, once again, not the one. If they give Bjergsen some sort of agency where he's like on a
like if they give him
mage,
LeBlanc.
Okay, that LeBlanc game, that could have been a misstep that happened in the late game.
Please note, I have picked TSM to win the game versus CLG, and I am now shitting on his two best champions in the last...
I know very well, and I'm trying to make a case for TSM, but the thing is, they still have that crazy early game. Can you say that
case.
It's like they have a really strong early game, but they've got like literally no mid game, so you can build a strong foundation, but then if you forget to put up walls, your roof's gonna fall down on your goddamn head. Right? Like, you're just not getting
hurricane
there.
And
What do you mean one hurricane? If you don't put up walls, the roof ain't standing in no wind, bro. Like,
I mean, walls to have corners.
I said the roof, dog. You have no load-bearing walls. You think that roof is staying up, dog? No. Ain't nothing bearing that load.
But even then, in the EG versus Dignitas game, like, Dignitas put up a lot of resistance, and EG did not know how to handle it besides, like, dying one at a time. And, like, trying to just do a one-man show and then just dying. If TSM manages to put them in a spot where they're on the back foot, we can at least see how this team reacts to it, and they just may not be able to pull it through. That's what I think might be the case for TSM.
I think Santorum's going to run train on TSM, and I don't think it will be that close.
Why are you thinking? Wait a minute. I don't even think that's a game that's going to happen. You're saying Svenskeren
versus TSM.
Svenskeren's not on either of these teams.
He's on EG.
Oh, I thought you were saying Santorin.
Yes, you did.
Did I say Santorin? I thought I said Svenskeren.
No, you said Santorin first, and then I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about again?
They're all over the league. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I know, because you can't keep one without turning them into a fucking word bot.
And then even then, Kumo in his game against Someday. Like,
don't disrespect Kumo or I'll fist fight you.
Hey, Someday was looking pretty good there.
There we go. That's what I thought.
That was not for Kumo. But like Kumo managed to hold his own, but that's because he was like getting assistance. That's because he was being rotated into the right places, right? Like
all
Kumo was kind of on the back foot
do
against
not beat EG. But
Okay.
they will beat CLG because CLG looked like 4 chickens with their heads cut off.
I do agree when the TSM versus CLG, but I say there is a reasonable case for TSM to beat EG this week.
I don't know about that.
All right, well, got anything else?
No, I don't, Matt.
I have one last thing.
Actually?
Okay.
Do you want to take us home?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I think I will.
I like that I even fooled you with that one.
All right.
That'll do it for us this week on the Legendary Lens podcast. You can catch us at 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays on twitch.tv/NizzyTV2K11. Catch the VODs on my YouTube channel. Have a nice day.